Could the Aeldari become avatars of their gods? How could this transformation be powered? And what device would you use to tap into that source? And why did the gods made for the Aeldari by the Old Ones become not beings they fought alongside, but beings they worshipped? During the War in Heaven, the battles between the Old Ones and the Aeldari, who they made, and the Catan and those they enslaved, the Necrontyr. How could even a powerful Aeldari psyche take on an aspect and power of a god? First possibility is a power source and the collective power of dead souls. With the Exodites, these would be a world spirit of an Exodite world, which protects Aeldari souls from Slaanesh. The world spirit had become mighty, a nascent god in its own self-contained universe. The billions of dead souls trapped in the Matrix flowed around her like smoke, individually no stronger than any single mortal, but collectively they became the world spirit and a gestalt psychic power capable of much more. One example that we have is that the world spirit creates a dragon made from psychic energy, using the energy of millions of Exodite souls. So you can see some connection there. Now regarding all the souls in that example we just went through, it collects not just the souls of the Aeldari, but also the animals in the area as well, and perhaps any Xenos that are there. It collects them all in its spirit area to power itself, along with the Aeldari souls. But how could you call on this spirit? There are many examples from gems to weapons. One referenced is that Trazyn, the Infinite, comes across a spirit in a bottle, a world spirit in a gem. The songs held that the gemstone was a meteorite, wandering, semi-sentient, absorbing the energy of each star it passed. During the War in Heaven, it was said that warriors had used it to channel the gods themselves, a thing that, were the old folklore stories true, once raised a god. Other ways to tap into these mighty forces are weapons. There is the Spear of Twilight, which is picked up by the Aeldari Uriel. This is an ancient Aeldari weapon. Its power is so great that it will, given time, burn out the life force of its wielder. When Uriel takes it up, he could slay a hive tyrant in a single blow. Both of these need to be carried into battle. Is there a more remote way to call on such godly power? The Staff of Ulthamar, held by Eldrad, lets him call on the power of the Infinity Circuit remotely. Another example is the Death Sword, an attempt to create a sword that could kill Slaanesh. Obviously this didn't succeed, but it was a blade that glowed brighter than the sun and was pregnant with the power of death, a blade powered by the mighty spirit engines that slept beneath the temple. One example that shows how this power, once called, could be used are the blades of Vol. These swords were made by Cain, so the wielders can help fight the Catan Nightbringer. Thus were born the swords of Vol, the blade wraiths. Cain led his people to war once more, his rage incandescent, the remnants of his army aflame with the heat of vengeance. 100 Eldar, each armed with a blade wraith, faced a horde of silvered Necrontyr, so vast the horizon glittered with metal bodies in every direction. Yet they knew no dread. The Eldar fought in a great circle, the swords of Vol flashing, and the Necrontyr could not penetrate their defence. The soul might contained within the swords invigorated their wielders, and every blow smashed apart an unholy foe. Cain was unstoppable, and his warriors fought with the knowledge that their god was pleased. For the soul might reference, perhaps this is a power source, a soul within the sword itself, or perhaps it draws on a bunch of souls stored elsewhere, tapping into that remotely. To fight alongside their god or face the Catan, and not be a pet lizard next to Godzilla in size, the Aeldari would need to down those pin particles and create an avatar of themselves. One example we do have from the current setting is from Millennial Pureheart. He and a band come across an avatar of Cain. This one, not the average one, this one the mortal organ of the founder of the first Aeldari dominions. This is a war shard, a part of Cain thrown back to the site of his most famous murder. The closest thing to Cain incarnate. Those that face this war shard are able to defeat it with the aid of Inead, and after Millennial held the heart of Eldanesh to his chest plate, just next to his own heart. Fronds of red light like prismatic blood, crawled through his fingers and onto the curve of his armour. He took a stumbling step back, releasing his hold, the gemstone held in place by his own power. The light spread, growing like a second skin over the autarch, flashing with orange and yellow, as though hiding flame just out of view, and the Aeldari takes on the aspect of Cain, the look, the voice, and a new name is gained. You are to give me a new name, Pure Heart, Millennial Pure Heart, Avenger of Eldanesh. And as he reverts to his normal form, the jewel pulsing where the Eldari's heart had once been. So now he can turn it into an avatar and back again, using the heart, using its power. Regarding Eldanesh and his bro, we are told, I saw them march to war against the silver-skinned Necrons, the Star Gods and their slaves, and I saw them summon the dread Lord Cain, the Eldar's mighty god of war, to battle with them. I saw the brothers and their god lead their children into battle time and again, pitting chaos, spawned furies against the soulless technologies of the Necrons. Could this reference be of the Eldar fighting in their true avatar forms alongside Cain? And further evidence, a vision from the novel Wild Rider. He saw giant figures that reminded him of the avatars of Cain, stalking alongside them, taller than phantom titans, bearing weapons that devastated strange cities. And a final example and evidence. Endless legions of skeletal warriors and terrifying engines of destruction fell upon him, raising worlds, and it said of the sword Azaman had that he is a demigod of battle, whose legend spans across the stars. For Azurian has given him the ability to cheat death forever, and kings, demons and star gods alike have fallen to his blade. I think that hints at what he could call upon to fight the Catan, an avatar form. So yes, the Eldari could take on the forms of their gods and fight alongside them, and then revert to normal. But what happens to their gods when they begin to worship them? I watched as the first ones encouraged the younger races to reach further into the other realm, and with their vibrant minds and passionate souls create beings of power to fight the star gods. But the battle was long, and the first ones were now few, and as their numbers dwindled, so too did their influence over their young creations. Without the wisdom and might of the first ones to bind them, I saw the Eldar's warp beings evolve from sentient weapons into living gods, the first true gods of the Immaterium. How I wept when the Eldar embraced them as such. And I think the difference there is that at first they're creations of the Eldar, but without the influence of the old ones to have that sort of scientific view of them, over time where they come from was forgotten and the gods were worshipped, and that created the cycle of them becoming gods for the Eldari and not warp weapons. If you enjoyed this video on the War in Heaven, I think there's more you don't know. Click here and check it out. What's going on?